Oh.
Because I know I don't want to jump into a car with a fucking listen to me. I just leave Aspen. I owe like $80,000. I got 8 people looking for me. The cops are looking for me. I go from Aspen to Boulder. I need a job, so I take a job making Joe. I'm not kidding you. $160 a week, 60 hours.
Wow.
As a fucking shag, which I'm the guy that takes the car from you in the body shop. When you pull up, I'm the guy that takes it and I wash it, and then they start the body work. And then after they've done the body work, I'm the guy that washes it. And if you do that for 3 or 4 months, then they turn you into a detailer. And I passed the test and I became a detailer.
You're making $160 a week?
Oh, it was fucking garbage. I was starving. But I was good, and I became a detailer. But the detailing was commission. And you made $100 to $150 a day. And, you know, I was enjoying it. But the guy I had as a boss was a dick. His name was Dirk Jordan. He was just a dick, dog. He was one of those guys that was one of us, but one day he got the manager's job. And one night I'm back there washing a fucking car. And I see a dead rat. And I picked the fucking rat up. And he had his jacket hanging by the door. I put the dead rat in his pocket, right, of his jacket, right? Ooh. You know me, dog. I go home, I get stoned. I don't know nothing. The next morning, he comes in, bro, and his cat car is fucked up. Like he hit like a pole.
He reached in and felt the rat.
He went in his pocket to get a cigarette.
Oh.
And he pulled the fucking rat out, and he fucking just went crazy and hit like a pole.
Oh,
he came in running. I know who did this. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. And he kept blaming some other guy. I'm sitting all the time fucking kicking my fucking ass off.
Oh. Bosses. Fuck, man. That's one of the worst relationships ever. A boss and employee. One of the worst relationships. Some guy gets to tell you what to do. He's the head guy at the office. You got to listen to this fuckhead. That is one of the worst positions to be in. Working for a guy who's a dick. And that power that someone would have, you know, if you moved on up, became the office manager, you can control people's future, control whether they get a raise, how much time they get off. You can make the decisions, whether or not you allow them to do certain things. It's a fucking terrible relationship.
What was the worst boss you ever had? Let's come on, be clean.
But all of them were in construction.
What was the first guy you looked at and said, you know what? If I ever see you outside of here, I'm going to fuck you up.
I never said that. But guys in construction, they would get real dicky. I did one time, there was a guy when I was a teenager that was talking a bunch of shit. He would hit me with a hammer. Yeah, there was because he got aggressive with me. And it wasn't in a way where I deserved it. He was just bullying me. And I was like 16, 17. But I had already had a fuckload of fights by then. Like, you know, Taekwondo fights. I was like, dude, I'll kick you in your fucking head. Like, you talk a bunch of crazy shit to me like this. Like, he was talking to me in not just a way like a boss employee. He was talking to me in a way where I was going to have to quit. But I never said I was going to do anything to him. I didn't, like, threaten him and say, I'll see you after this and I'll fuck you up. I said, don't talk to me like that because I could fuck you up. That's basically what I said to him. But that's the thing about construction is, like, there was a lot of, like, man-to-man type conflict. Like, it wasn't unheard of to hear about street fights between guys who are working together. They got pissed and pushed each other and punched each other in the fucking snow. You know, dudes carrying roofing tiles. One guy knocks another guy over or something. They start fighting. That shit happened all the time. There's a lot of the people that were doing labor, too, were, like, real dirtbags. Like, there was this one guy that I did labor with. I worked with my friend Leroy Rodriguez and his buddy. They had some business partner. They would take apart old houses and redo them. And Leroy was one of the black belts at the Taekwondo Institute. He was a bad motherfucker. And Leroy got me this gig. And I worked with these guys laboring. And one of the guys we worked with lived in this fucked up abandoned building. Well, not abandoned, but stripped out building. I mean, there was parts of the building where there's no floor. It was all fucked up. Half the walls were missing. They were redoing the whole building and taking things out and fixing things. This guy lived there, and he had a Mountain Dew jug filled with malt liquor, and he would drink it warm all day. and he had the shakes. Everything he did to do had the shakes. He was just drunk all day on a crazy job site where, like, you know, there's no floors sometimes. Like, everything's all fucked up. You have to balance when you're going from one room to the other because they're tearing down parts of the wall. And this guy, somehow or another, fucking slid on through, drinking the entire time. And I remember thinking, like, these are people that have made questionable decisions. It makes you want to go back to college. It makes you want to get a degree. When you're around a lot of these guys, like laborers and stuff, like, you know, some of them are just like me. They're just young guys who need a gig and they need money. And some of them are dudes who've been doing it their whole life, and they're 50, and they're drunk.
Oh,
and,
my God.
Yeah, and their
you
body's
see that,
falling
you
apart.
feel terrible about yourself. You're like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do this.
I definitely knew I didn't want to do it. I definitely knew I didn't want to do it. Well, you know, to be a carpenter is a different gig. You know, like a real good carpenter, that's a skilled craftsman and an artist. You know, you're putting together things. That's different. But the laborer gig was not like, you didn't really have to know anything. You just had to be big enough to listen to them. You know, big enough to, like, pick things up. Can you go get that? Go get me that bag of cement. Go dig. All right, you guys are going to take nails out of these boards now. And it was like that kind of shit. You just hung out with the weirdest people, man.
The worst guy I remember, Joe Rogan. I was clean from coke. I was clean about 90 days. I was really trying to turn my life around. And I answered an ad for construction carpenter's helper. And he hired me. I went, and the first day he had to work for free.
You worked for free?
Yeah, he abused
so they
me.
could see you.
Yeah, so I said, okay, I agreed to it. I measured.
Wow, first day work for free.
I cut the stuff, and you have to go get lunch and the whole thing. Yeah, okay, I did it. I passed. And then the guy would say, okay, meet me at a diner at 8. And when I go get paid, he'd say, what's those hours? And I go, you told me to meet you at 8. He goes, oh, no, didn't you ever hear windshield time? So let's say the job, we didn't get to the job by 10.
That's when you start getting paid?
That's when I started getting paid. And I was, you know, I was really trying. I lived with a friend. I wanted to give them rent money. I was trying to put away some money. I forget what he paid me. He didn't pay. He made me pay for my own lunch. Then one day he said, where's your weight belt? Your, you know, work belt. And I go, I don't have one. He goes, okay, I'll pay. And you have to pay me for the materials plus 30%. And I was like,
plus 30%.
Yeah, you're a fucking scumbag. Just to have like a claw, a fucking hammer, and something else.
Yeah.
I forget what it was.
To do work for him, you had to have your own tools.
And a saw and stuff like that. And,
yeah, that was always a thing, whether or not you were union or non-union. You know, there was a lot of the work that I did when I was a kid was non-union. And a lot of the people didn't want a union. They felt like the union guys, they had it easier, but it was too expensive, and people didn't want to, you know, use certain people. So it was like a real debate, like what's better.
For every amount of union people, you have to have a certain amount of non-union.
Is that how it works?
To balance it out, right? So everybody makes money.
But it seems like in some things, like auto workers, they don't fuck around, right?
No.
Like everybody has to be union, just different
unions.
Gig. But like construction is different.
Mandatory breaks, glory time.
Yeah.
You know, there's lists. If a job opens up, how do we get it? You got to go on a list. Mm-hmm. Rogan has more minority than Diaz. He started 9 months before Diaz. He gets the job.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about knowing all that shit. But that dude, I'll never forget that dude's name and what he did and the scumbag he was to me. But on Fridays, he would make me feel bad. Like he'd go, so how many hours did you work? And I'd go 38. And he'd go, no, I'm paying you for 30. And he'd bully me, this guy. But every Friday he'd go, this Friday I'm going away. I'm going here to fuck my wife in the ass. And he was always an asshole. And then all of a sudden I got my check. I got this check I was waiting for. And one Saturday I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm sick of this motherfucker. I'm going to rob his house. And I jumped the fence and I kicked the back door open. And he was a guy that bought hot shit on the side. The guy was just a sack of shit. And he must have had, I don't know how many fucking bottles and cases of Dom Perignon. So I fucking ran up to the corner, called my buddy, go meet me at this address. And I took every bottle of Dom Perignon that he had, and I sold them at liquor stores. I took his checkbook. I mean, I buried this fucking guy just for how bad he treated me. He was such a fucking scumbag. Oh. Never bought lunch. he was always making, he was always making little fucking remarks.
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier. What
Yeah.
happens when a guy gets into power that's a piece of shit?
Oh my God,
the
he
worst.
was such a fucking
You become a
sack of
victim
shit.
to him. Yeah.
I remember I had his T-shirt for a long time. I used to wear it and smile every time. JHS or some shit like that. Fuck him.